I never thought I'd be sharing my story on an online forum, but here I am, seeking advice and support from strangers. My name is Alex, 24M, and the past few months have been a whirlwind of emotions and life-changing events. To give you some context, I grew up in a small town in the Midwest. My parents, both high school teachers, instilled in me the values of hard work and honesty from a young age. I was always a bit of an introvert, preferring books and computers to parties and sports. This didn't make me very popular in high school, but I didn't mind. I had a small group of close friends, and that was enough for me. When I got accepted to State University on a partial scholarship, it felt like a fresh start. I was excited to meet new people and explore new interests. That's where I met Rebecca, 23F, during our sophomore year. We were in the same introduction to psychology class, and she caught my eye from day one. Rebecca was everything I wasn't: outgoing, spontaneous, and always the life of the party. She had this infectious laugh that could light up a room. I was instantly drawn to her, but I never thought someone like her would be interested in someone like me. One day, after class, Rebecca approached me and asked if I wanted to study together for the upcoming midterm. I was surprised but eagerly agreed. That study session turned into coffee, which turned into dinner, and before I knew it, we were dating. Our relationship wasn't always smooth sailing. Rebecca's spontaneity sometimes clashed with my need for structure and planning. She'd want to go on impromptu road trips or stay out late on weeknights, while I preferred quiet nights in and sticking to a routine. But we always managed to find a middle ground. Rebecca helped me come out of my shell, and I helped her find some balance in her life. After graduation, we both landed entry-level jobs in the city. I started at a tech startup, while Rebecca got a position at a local marketing firm. We were excited about starting our careers and building a life together. We talked about marriage, kids, and buying a house someday. Everything seemed to be falling into place. 2 months ago, after 3 years of dating, we decided to take the next step and move in together. We found a cozy 2-bedroom apartment close to both our workplaces. The first few weeks were blissful. We'd cook dinner together, binge watch our favorite shows, and spend lazy Sunday mornings in bed. I thought this was the beginning of our happily ever after. But then, about a month into our new living arrangement, Rebecca lost her job. The marketing firm was downsizing, and as one of the newest employees, Rebecca was one of the first to go. She was devastated. I tried my best to support her, telling her that she was talented and would find something even better soon. At first, Rebecca seemed grateful for my support. She'd send out job applications and work on her portfolio. But as the weeks went by, her enthusiasm waned. She started sleeping in later and later, sometimes not getting out of bed until well past noon. She'd spend hours scrolling on her phone or binge watching shows on Netflix. I was concerned but didn't want to push too hard, thinking she just needed time to process the setback. About 3 weeks after she lost her job, I noticed Rebecca was spending a lot of time on her phone, always quickly hiding the screen when I walked by. At first, I brushed it off, not wanting to be the kind of boyfriend who snoops or gets jealous. But as the behavior continued, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Last week, I decided to surprise Rebecca by coming home early with lunch. As I approached our apartment, I heard her laughing and talking. Thinking she might be on the phone with a potential employer, I quietly entered. But as I got closer to the bedroom, I realized she was on a video call. And then I heard words that made my blood run cold. "I miss you too, babe. I can't wait to see you this weekend." I pushed open the bedroom door, and Rebecca's face went pale. On the screen, I saw a guy I'd never seen before. Rebecca quickly ended the call and jumped up, trying to explain. But I was too shocked to listen. I left the apartment and spent hours walking around the city, trying to process what I'd just witnessed. When I finally returned home, Rebecca was waiting for me. Through tears, she confessed that she'd been talking to her ex-boyfriend, Mike, 25M, for the past few weeks. She claimed it started innocently. He'd reached out after hearing about her job loss, offering support as a friend. But things had escalated, and she admitted they'd been having emotional conversations and planning to meet up. I was furious and heartbroken. I couldn't understand how Rebecca could do this to me, to us. We'd been through so much together, supported each other through the ups and downs of college and starting our careers. I thought we were building a future together, and now it felt like it was all crumbling around me. I told Rebecca she needed to leave. She begged me to reconsider, saying she'd made a mistake and that she loved me. But I couldn't trust her anymore. The image of her laughing and talking to Mike was seared into my brain. I gave her a week to find somewhere else to live. The next few days were tense and uncomfortable. Rebecca kept trying to talk to me, to explain herself, but I shut her out. I spent most of my time at work or out with friends, avoiding the apartment as much as possible. When we were both home, the silence was deafening. On the day Rebecca was supposed to move out, I came home to find the apartment empty. She'd left a note on the kitchen counter: "Alex, I'm sorry for everything. I know I messed up, and I'll regret it for the rest of my life. I'm going to stay with my parents for a while. I hope someday you can forgive me. Love, Rebecca." I crumpled up the note and threw it away. I felt a mix of relief and sadness. Part of me wanted to call her, to try and work things out, but I knew I deserved better. Now, 2 weeks later, I'm still trying to process everything. Rebecca's friends have reached out, telling me she's miserable and wants to make amends. Her parents even called, asking me to give her another chance. But I can't bring myself to do it. I keep replaying our relationship in my head, wondering if there were signs I missed. Was Rebecca always unhappy with our life together? Did she resent me for not being as outgoing or spontaneous as she was? Or was this truly just a moment of weakness brought on by the stress of losing her job? I'm struggling to move forward. The apartment feels empty without her. I find myself avoiding the living room, where we used to cuddle on the couch and watch movies. I can't bring myself to cook meals for one in the kitchen where we used to dance while making dinner together. I've thrown myself into work, staying late at the office and taking on extra projects. My colleagues have noticed the change in my behavior, but I brush off their concerns. When I'm not working, I go to the gym, pushing myself to exhaustion in an attempt to quiet the thoughts swirling in my head. My friends have been supportive, inviting me out and offering a sympathetic ear. But I find it hard to open up to them. How do I explain the depth of my pain and betrayal? How do I admit that the future I thought I had planned out is now completely uncertain? I'm not sure what I'm looking for by posting this. Maybe just a place to vent, or some advice on how to move on. How do I trust someone again after this? Is it even worth trying to salvage the relationship, or should I just cut my losses and start over? Part of me wonders if I'm being too harsh. Should I have given Rebecca a chance to explain further? Am I throwing away 3 years of love and memories over one mistake? But then I remember the casual way she said "I miss you too, babe" to Mike, and my resolve hardens. I know I'm young, and logically, I understand that there's plenty of time to find love again. But right now, the future feels daunting and lonely. I had built so many of my plans and dreams around Rebecca, and now I have to figure out who I am and what I want on my own. Any advice or words of encouragement would be greatly appreciated. How do I move forward from here? Update 1. It's been a month since my last post, and I want to thank everyone who commented and offered support. Your words really helped me during a difficult time. A lot has happened since then, and I felt it was time for an update. After much consideration and encouragement from friends and family, I decided to meet with Rebecca to hear her out. We agreed to meet at a neutral location, a small coffee shop downtown that neither of us had been to before. I arrived early, my stomach in knots as I waited for her. When Rebecca walked in, I was struck by how different she looked. Her usual confident demeanor was gone, replaced by a nervous energy. She looked tired, with dark circles under her eyes, and she'd lost weight. For a moment, I felt a pang of concern, but I quickly reminded myself why we were there. We ordered our coffees and found a quiet corner to talk. Rebecca started by apologizing again for her actions. She tried to explain herself, saying that losing her job had hit her harder than she realized. She felt like a failure, unworthy of my love and support. Reaching out to Mike was a way of escaping those feelings, of connecting with someone who knew her before the pressures of adult life. She swore that nothing physical had happened between them and that she'd realized her mistake before their planned meeting. She said she'd been too ashamed to come clean to me, hoping she could end things with Mike without me ever finding out. I listened to her explanation, my emotions swinging wildly between sympathy and anger. Part of me wanted to comfort her, to tell her that her worth wasn't tied to her job. But another part of me couldn't get past the betrayal. I told Rebecca that while I appreciated her honesty, the trust between us was broken. I couldn't see a way to rebuild it. The image of her talking to Mike, the casual babe she'd used, was seared into my memory. How could I ever feel secure in our relationship again? Rebecca broke down crying, begging for another chance. She promised to go to counseling, to be completely transparent with her phone and social media. She said she'd do anything to regain my trust. But I stood firm. I told her that we both needed time apart to grow and heal. After our meeting, I felt a strange mix of emotions. There was sadness, of course, but also a sense of closure. It wasn't easy, but I knew I'd made the right decision for myself. A week after meeting Rebecca, I received a surprising call. It was from Mike, Rebecca's ex. He said he wanted to meet and talk. At first, I was hesitant, not sure what good could come from such a meeting. But curiosity got the better of me, and I agreed. We met at a local park on a sunny Saturday afternoon. Mike looked nervous as he approached me, his hands shoved deep in his pockets. He started by apologizing for his role in the situation. Then he dropped a bombshell. Rebecca had been lying about the extent of their relationship. According to Mike, they had been in contact for months, not just weeks. It started innocently enough, with Rebecca reaching out after seeing on Facebook that Mike's mother had passed away. But their conversations quickly became more frequent and intimate. They had met up several times when I was at work or out with friends, usually just for coffee or lunch, but once for dinner and drinks. Mike showed me text messages and photos as proof. There were selfies of them together at a local bar, messages planning their meetups, and even some flirtatious exchanges that made my stomach churn. Mike said he felt guilty and wanted to come clean, especially after Rebecca tried to blame everything on him when I caught her. I was stunned. The betrayal went deeper than I had imagined. Part of me was angry at Mike for his role in the affair, but a larger part was grateful for his honesty. I thanked him for telling me the truth and went home, my mind reeling. That night, I received a flurry of texts and calls from Rebecca. She was furious that Mike had told me the truth. Her messages swung between anger and pleading, but I ignored them all. I couldn't believe she was still trying to manipulate the situation, still lying even after our talk at the coffee shop. The next day, I changed the locks on the apartment and blocked Rebecca's number. I also reached out to her parents, explaining why I couldn't give Rebecca another chance. They were disappointed but understood. Her father even apologized for their earlier call asking me to reconsider, saying they hadn't known the full extent of Rebecca's actions. Now, I'm focused on healing and moving forward. I've started seeing a therapist to work through my trust issues and to process the end of my relationship. It's been helpful to have a neutral party to talk to, someone who can offer professional insight into my emotions and behaviors. I've also reconnected with old friends and picked up new hobbies to keep myself busy. I've joined a local hiking group and have been exploring trails in the area every weekend. The physical exertion and beautiful scenery have been therapeutic, helping to clear my mind and boost my mood. At work, I've thrown myself into a new project, developing an app that could potentially streamline our company's workflow. My boss has been impressed with my initiative and dedication, hinting at a possible promotion in the near future. It's not easy, and there are still days when I miss the good times with Rebecca. Sometimes I'll hear a song that reminds me of her, or I'll pass by a restaurant we used to love, and the pain feels fresh all over again. But these moments are becoming less frequent and less intense. I know I made the right choice. I deserve someone who respects me and our relationship, someone I can trust completely. I'm not ready to date again yet, but I'm hopeful for the future. For now, I'm focused on becoming the best version of myself, both personally and professionally. Thank you all again for your support and advice. It's been invaluable during this difficult time. I'll update again if there are any significant developments. Update 2. It's been 6 months since my last update, and I wanted to share some developments in my life. A lot has changed, and I'm in a much better place now. First, I want to address something that happened shortly after my last post. Rebecca's friends started a smear campaign against me on social media, claiming I was the one who cheated and that I had manipulated the situation. They posted screenshots of out-of-context conversations and even spread rumors about me at our old university. It was hurtful and frustrating to see people I once considered friends turn against me. The accusations affected my mental health and even started to impact my work life when a potential client came across the posts and questioned my character. I chose not to engage in the online drama directly. Instead, I reached out to a few mutual friends who knew the truth and asked them to speak up if they felt comfortable. Many did, sharing their own experiences with Rebecca's behavior and defending my character. I also consulted with a lawyer friend who advised me on potential legal actions if the defamation continued. Thankfully, the truth quickly unraveled. Rebecca's friends eventually took down their posts and apologized, but it was a difficult few weeks. The experience made me realize how fragile our reputations can be in the digital age and how important it is to have people who will stand up for you. On a more positive note, I've made significant progress in my personal life. The therapy sessions have been incredibly helpful. I've worked through a lot of my anger and trust issues, and I feel more confident and self-assured than ever. My therapist has helped me recognize patterns in my past relationships and develop healthier coping mechanisms for stress and conflict. I've also made some big changes in my career. The stress of the breakup and the subsequent online drama made me realize how unhappy I was in my job. While I enjoyed the work itself, the company culture wasn't a good fit for me. With the support of my therapist and friends, I decided to take a leap and start my own business. It wasn't an easy decision. I spent weeks researching, developing a business plan, and reaching out to potential clients. I dipped into my savings to cover startup costs and worked long hours to get everything set up. There were moments of doubt and fear, but I pushed through. Now, I'm running a small digital marketing agency. It's been challenging, but incredibly rewarding. I've landed several clients, including the company I used to work for, which now outsources some of its marketing work to me. I'm learning new skills every day and enjoying the freedom and responsibility of being my own boss. As for my personal life, I've started dating again. I met a woman named Emma, 26F, through a mutual friend at a local charity event about 2 months ago. We hit it off immediately, bonding over our shared love of hiking and indie movies. Emma works as a pediatric nurse, and her compassion and dedication to her work are truly inspiring. Emma knows about my past and has been incredibly understanding and patient. We've had open conversations about trust and communication, and she's respectful of my boundaries. It's still early days, but being with Emma has shown me what a healthy relationship should feel like. There's mutual respect, support, and trust. I've had no contact with Rebecca since the incident with her friends. However, last week, I ran into her parents at a local restaurant. It was awkward at first, but they were kind. They told me Rebecca had moved to another city for a fresh start. I wished her well and meant it. The anger I once felt has faded, replaced by a sense of gratitude for the lessons I learned from that experience. Looking back, I can see how much I've grown in the past 8 months. The betrayal and heartbreak were painful, but they led me to make positive changes in my life. I'm proud of how far I've come and excited about what the future holds. I'm taking things one day at a time, focusing on my business, my personal growth, and my budding relationship with Emma. While I'm cautiously optimistic about where things might lead with her, I'm also content with where I am right now. Thank you all for your support throughout this journey. Your advice and encouragement have been invaluable. Update 3, it's been a year since my original post, and I felt it was time for a final update. Life has a funny way of surprising you, and the past few months have been no exception. Emma and I are still together, and our relationship has only grown stronger. We recently took a big step and moved in together. It was a decision we didn't take lightly, given my past experience, but it felt right. We had many long conversations about expectations, finances, and how to maintain our individuality while sharing a space. Living with Emma has been amazing, we complement each other perfectly, and our home is filled with laughter and love. We've established routines that work for both of us, like Sunday morning brunches and weeknight yoga sessions. At the same time, we make sure to give each other space for our individual interests and friendships. My business has taken off beyond my wildest expectations. We've landed several big clients, and I've had to hire a small team to keep up with the workload. It's challenging managing employees and juggling multiple projects, but I love every minute of it. The sense of accomplishment I feel is indescribable. Last month, we were featured in a local business magazine as one of the top emerging companies in the area. It was surreal seeing my face and my company's story in print. I couldn't help but think about how different my life was just a year ago. Now, for the unexpected twist. About a month ago, I received a letter from Rebecca. At first, I was hesitant to open it, but curiosity got the better of me. In the letter, Rebecca apologized again for her actions and shared that she had been going through intensive therapy. She didn't ask for forgiveness or to reconcile, which I appreciated. Instead, she wanted to let me know that she understood the pain she had caused and was working on becoming a better person. The letter brought up mixed emotions, but surprisingly, I felt a sense of closure. I showed it to Emma, who was incredibly supportive. We discussed it, and I decided to write a brief, polite response, wishing Rebecca well in her journey of self-improvement. This experience has made me reflect on how far I've come. A year ago, I was heartbroken and lost. Now, I'm in a loving relationship, running a successful business, and more confident than ever. The betrayal I experienced was painful, but it led me to where I am today. I'm grateful for the support I've received from this community throughout this journey. Your advice and encouragement helped me through some of my darkest moments. To anyone going through a similar situation, know that it does get better. Trust yourself, focus on your own growth, and don't be afraid to open your heart again when the time is right. As I close this chapter of my life, I'm filled with optimism for the future. Emma and I are talking about long-term plans, including the possibility of marriage down the line. My business continues to grow, and I'm excited about the opportunities ahead.